Make a difference in the world but don't know how? Reporter Bridget Antwi sat down with an inspiring young couple who want to show Canadians how to use their skills and passions for social justice.
Alex and Megan Nichols did something most newlyweds don't do. While committing to each other, the couple also committed their first year of marriage to social justice. And their walk down the aisle led them around the world to Rwanda, Africa.
In our wedding, we made the three themes of the scriptures that we chose was love, hope, and compassion. And we really wanted to make those core values for our family, for our relationship with each other. And it was so exciting to be able to see those in action with this project so early on in our marriage.
Their best wedding gift was a grant from the Canadian International Development Agency, which they used to create the Just Us project. The project aims to close the divide between the haves and the have-nots.
It is basically designed to engage young Canadians with social justice issues and encourage them and inspire them to get involved, to use the skills that they've got and join those with the passions that they have for making a difference in the world.
We go to the meeting house. It came from a quote from Bruxy Cavey. He was talking about our partnership with those in other countries, that there is no us and them, there is just us.
In Rwanda, the couple spent a month filming a documentary.
And so we wanted to use this project to show that the young people in Canada have a lot of the same goals and dreams and desires as young people in, say, Rwanda would.
It's easy for the numbers to often overtake the personal stories. The thing is that when you're dealing with numbers that are in the billions, sometimes it's easy to lose focus of the fact that these people are actual people who have real life and real values.
The film educates people about the United Nations Millennium Development Goals, a set of 8 issues the UN wants to reduce by 50% in the majority world. The goals are poverty, universal primary education, gender equality, reducing child mortality, improving maternal health, HIV and AIDS, environmental sustainability, and global partnership.
Because often I think people feel like, oh, we're helping the poor, but there's always so many more poor who need help. And so the UN wanted to set these benchmarks as a place where we could really push towards being by 2015. Rwanda, where we were, was one of the only African countries that was slated to actually meet the goals by 2015. So it's exciting for us to be able to be there.
The couple says no single goal is more important than the other because they're all connected.
And I don't think you can, because when you look at it, they're all so intertwined. I mean, AIDS is so intertwined with poverty, and poverty is so intertwined with primary education, and so intertwined with women's rights and with child mortality.
And what about those who say the couple should start in their own backyard? Well, the Nichols challenge Canadians, wherever they are, to act.
If people feel passionate about a particular issue, and if that issue is local urban homelessness, if that's the marginalization of our First Nations people, then they should chase after those dreams and get involved with a charity that does that.
I think when you look at the issues that affect the people further afield internationally, you look at problems that have so much more scale and so much more impact. When it comes down to people dying, that's an immediate thing that needs to stop.
When it comes to extreme poverty, the Nichols say you either accept it or reject it.
Why is it that we accept this in Africa, but we would not stand for it in our own family? Why is it that we accept that 30,000 children die a day from malaria, whereas if in Canada 30,000 kids died for any reason, people would be, they'd be storming on Ottawa, they'd be demanding answers from the government. And our thought is really that is part of the us and them divide. We think, well, that's them over there, that's their issue. And somehow we put the value of life on a bit of a different scale.
The couple says the notion that people in Africa want handouts but aren't able to help themselves is false.
People in Rwanda are already doing so much in their own communities. They just need us to get on board with what they're already doing. They don't need our answers, they just need our resources. It was just so inspiring to realize that you're not just throwing money at a problem, you're assisting people who are already assisting people in their own neighborhood.
It's easy to kind of buy into a lot of what's kind of out there, has been out there in the media for a number of years, which is those kind of images of children who are starving with the black and white kind of images, the flies on them in slow motion. The idea that they are constantly struggling and constantly kind of depressed about their situation is not a true statement.
While filming in Rwanda, the Nichols say they met people they won't soon forget.
This woman that we feature in the film, Mama Nadine, she's a widow. Her husband died of AIDS. She herself has AIDS. She has 3 children of her own. She's unemployed. She lives below the poverty line. And there was a family in her neighborhood where the father was abusive. So she has no job. She has nothing. She lives in this falling apart house and took in 2 extra kids because she just thought that's the right thing to do.
We asked her why would you take in these young children who you really don't have any connection with? Why would you do this? And she really didn't understand the question, because to her there was no question of why. Like, it was obvious that that's what you do when you help people out. That's what you do when you're a Christian, you help people out.
With most of the world living on less than $1 a day, fighting global poverty can be overwhelming. The Nichols are trying to change all that. With the Just Us project, they're trying to show Canadians that a little can go a long way. While promoting the Just Us project, the Nichols discovered at an event in Saskatoon just how connected Africans and Canadians really are.
We went and visited a school called Valley Christian Academy, and there was a woman who was there who'd heard about the event being put on. And while she was there, she actually told us that she belonged to a street organization that provides various facilities for street people in Saskatoon, and that they as a community were actually responsible for sponsoring Mama Nadine. Each one of the members paid 25 cents a week towards a payment of $150 a month to sponsor Mama Nadine and her kids and her family.
They shared with us that they realized that there were people in the world poorer than themselves, and that they wanted to make sure that now that they knew there were people poorer than them, that they were giving what they had to help those who were less fortunate.
So what can you actually do to help? The couple have a few suggestions. First, get informed.
In the resources that we give out at our events, we found a bunch of really fabulous websites and movies that have impacted us, and books and resources that we'd love people just to take the time to find out more about the issues. The more people who know, the more people who have the capacity to act on them.
Second, though not the only solution, money in the right hands helps.
Whether that's, one less coffee a week at Starbucks so that they can donate that money somewhere else, or choosing to buy fair trade over, buying what's cheapest. So we would encourage people to find a charity that if they feel they could even give $5 a month to, that's going to go a long way for somebody else. If you can't do it on your own, and maybe you want to pool your resources together to sponsor a child through one of the many organizations that do a great job doing that.
Third, rethink your attitude towards the majority world.
One thing we've been learning about recently is not defining people by the fact that they're poor. Those are the poor and we are the rich, or those are, that racial group and we are this racial group. But to think of those people are our friends who happen to be poor. So now that they're my friends, I want to care for them because I care for my friends.
The Nichols say the project has changed both their attitudes and their marriage in ways they never imagined.
We've really learned to recognize that while our partnership is so valuable to Africans, and while our resources are so valuable, that the soft skills, that the experience of community and love and joy in times of incredible strain is something for me as a person and as a Christian and as a Canadian that I'm so glad I got to experience.
This process for me personally has really opened my eyes up to what I think it's my right to have, and the opportunities and the potential that I have been given, and how do I use that, how have I used that, and how will I continue to use that in the future.
For the Nichols, committing their first year of marriage to social justice was worth it. It's a gift that keeps on giving, and they're anxious to go back to Africa. The tour is running until the end of March. To learn more about the Just Us project and connect with a nonprofit organization near you, visit crossroads.ca. In Mississauga, Ontario, I'm Bridget Antwi for 100 Huntley Street.